like to know how much cash is in your home? Would you like to know what that cash could do for you? Would you like to figure out how to pay off your home faster? Would you like to set up a private search where no one will try to bug you or sell you anything when you're searching for another home? I got an app for that. The wealth building app for your home. HomeBot. It's free. Click here. Thank you for joining us for the fun and mentals of real estate. I'm your host, Angela Dillmon, here with Keller Williams Realty, Chesterfield in St. Louis, Missouri. And this is my co-host,
Glen Calvin, Guild Mortgage, Chesterfield, Missouri as well.
All right. So today we're still kind of on the lifestyle. Is the lifestyle the right fit for your next move, right? Mm-hmm. And so talking about that, we are going to talk about condos.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what question do you have about condos, Glenn?
Are all condominiums created equal?
Oh, that is a great question, and the question of the day. And no, they are not. No. How about that? So we're going to talk about the different styles of condominiums. All right. A lot of different terms here. Condos and townhomes.
Villas.
Okay. Villas.
Attached housing.
Attached housing. Oh my gosh. There's detached condos. Have you ever heard of that? Oh my gosh. So there's a lot of different animals out there. Okay. So, one of them is, we'll start from, they don't do anything. You think you're going to pay a certain fee a month, and they're going to do everything for you. They're going to take care of the roof, the siding, the grass, everything.
And some of them do.
And some of them do. But anymore, not many of them do. Right. Okay, so here we go. We'll start with attached townhome.
So that's a big difference. On those, you actually own the ground that the condominium, that the property sits on. And that's more akin, when we look at the financing, to a single family, but it's just attached. Yeah. So we actually own the ground.
Which means you're just sharing a wall. Yep. Right. Okay, you're sharing a wall.
Right.
And on some of those, there's no condo fee at all.
Right.
It's like, it's your house. You just happen to share a wall with a guy. Okay? And sometimes they build them where your roofs are actually separate. Like one is higher than the other, and just looks like, and so you can do, sometimes you share the roof. Right. So you gotta really ask.
And most of them are going to have some kind of maintenance fee, and if they have a swimming pool or a tennis court or
so that's the next level.
Can have all that.
So the next level is, let's just talk about a villa. Mm-hmm. Villas are typically attached, so you share a wall. Sometimes two together, sometimes four, sometimes a whole row
clusters,
of them.
Right?
Okay, now in villas, it's really super common to have like $150 or $200 a month fee. And you're like, oh, that's really reasonable. They do everything for me? No. You do your roof. You take care of your windows and your siding, and you power wash your house. You take care of your deck if you have a deck. Okay, but they cut your lawn, and they'll take care of a little bit of landscaping in the front, and they'll snow removal. And that's all you get.
And that can be a little bit of a hybrid too. Some of those you could own the ground. Some of them it could all be owned by the association, right?
Yeah, and that really makes it different in loans, which we'll talk about in a minute. Right. Then you got your next one. And the next one is, let's see, I have a condo that is detached.
Those are rare. Okay,
but they're still like townhomes that are detached. New construction's doing this a lot. This is kind of a new thing.
And you also see them in a resort community.
Yeah,
they'll have that's something true. On the lake or by the ocean, yeah.
They'll charge you a fee, take care of your exterior lawn again, but they don't do too much else for you. Okay, now, in the villa community, sometimes they'll do all your lawn and your roof, but nothing else.
Just not going to be a one-size-fits-all. So you're going to have to do your research when you go in.
Right. Now, condos that are like in a big building, and there's like, a whole bunch of them in a building, almost like apartment style. We call them garden units. Mm-hmm. They're one level units. Sometimes they have stairs. Sometimes they have elevators. Sometimes there's parking garages underneath. Now, those style, most of the time, you're going to pay today about a $300 to $550 fee. Sometimes on the luxury ones, it's more like $700 or $750.
And on those, you basically own from the walls in.
That's what you own. The walls in is your responsibility.
And the rest of it is owned by all the other people in that association.
And everybody shares in the cost.
Right.
Now, what will drive up your condo fees are carports, pools, lots of retaining walls, and tons of parking lots. In those styles, you tend to have a lot of parking lots and carports and pools. That's going to drive up your fee because there's a lot more maintenance on the exterior.
So, and I'm going to go back and dumb this down a little bit. So if I own a home, I've got my mortgage payment, my principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. when I own a villa, when I own a attached home, when I own one of these condominium units, then I've got an additional charge on top of that. So
Yes.
on top of making my monthly payment, I have this HOA fee. And then there's regular single-family homes that have HOAs, but they're not much.
Yeah.
But on a condominium, it's going to be significant. You're going to pay that outside of your loan to a condo management company.
Okay, so the fun part of this, you can just pack up and move. Drop your keys. Leave. Come. Go. No one has to watch your house. You don't have to worry about finding the lawn guy. You don't have to worry about, maintaining the pool. What else?
Yeah, so you got, maybe it's a lifestyle that you couldn't afford on your own. So I can't afford to have a pool and a tennis court and a rec room. But when I'm in a condominium, I've got all those amenities.
That's right. And that is the absolute fun part of condo living. It is super fun.
Not having to cut the grass, not having to shovel snow.
Right. So, okay, Glenn, I want to, get a loan. I'm not gonna be able to pay cash for this condo. So, one other thing about condos, they're very, very affordable. More affordable than single families. Believe it or not. So you can still buy a condo out there for $150,000, believe it or not.
There's a lot of demand. A lot of people want them.
Yeah, all the way up to you name it, right?
So when underwrite, what about a loan? Yeah, when we underwrite a loan, first of all, we're going to underwrite. When I say underwrite, we look to approve a borrower. We're going to look at their principal and interest, their debt-to-income ratio, their credit score.
But how hard are condos? Are they different than loans?
Well, on a condominium, we also have to look at that association. So it's another layer.
Yeah.
So now we have to look at the condominium association as a whole. And there's about a 25 or 30 numbered questionnaire that we're going to send out to them, and they're going to fill it out. And what we're trying to maintain is that trying to ascertain is that this condo community that you're living in is healthy, that they've got a good budget, that there aren't any lawsuits against them.
Oh, lawsuits are a big thing.
Yeah, they're not a big thing, but they're a thing. And we're just going to make sure that
What about rentals?
That association that you're buying is healthy. Yeah, we don't want to loan money into an apartment complex, so there can only be a certain percentage of rentals.
Isn't it like 25%?
No, it's closer to 50.
Okay, and not exceed 50% in the whole complex of rentals.
But that's on a standard Fannie Mae. That again, it's not going to be one size fits all. There's different loans set aside for kind of. In general, we don't want to look at too many rentals. We want to make sure that one entity doesn't own too many units.
Oh, that's
make sure we touched on lawsuits. We want to make sure this is a big one right now. We want to make sure that the insurance is right. So we're going to look at that master insurance policy.
Ooh.
So when you have a condominium, it's an important point. You're insuring the walls in. It's called an HO6 policy. That
it's
if
cheap.
the place would burn down, yeah, it is. It's $500 to $600 a year.
Yeah.
But part of your condo fee is going to insure that whole condominium.
Yes.
And right now we're seeing the inflation hitting the insurance agencies. Right. So these condominiums are trying to keep their fees reasonable, so they're cutting back on that coverage. Yeah. So it's just another layer. And it's not that we're trying to make life more difficult for you.
Is it harder?
It's not. It is harder, but it's not impossible, and it's done all the time. But it's just another step that you have to be prepared for.
Yeah. The probably the biggest problem we run into is that when we get the resale cert back or that questionnaire back, it's you find out that the condominium association's either in debt. A lot of people aren't paying.
Right, that's another big one.
Right. And so who owns it and the amount of rentals is a big deal. Is there anything else? Oh, I remember we were doing one at Glenn's licensed in Missouri. And where else?
Illinois, Florida, and Kansas.
But Gil does all 50 states, so if you need somebody, you just call Glenn. He can find you a guy. Anyway, so we were doing one at Table Rock. And Table Rock, this one particular condo complex had on-site management for Airbnb,
nightly rentals,
right? Nightly rentals.
So now the lender thinks you're buying a hotel.
Right.
You're not buying a condominium.
So, but if I put enough money down, does it matter?
Yes, it does. It has a big effect. So that's why it's not one size fits all. The bottom line is just be prepared. Get with a good lender. Do your homework and try and stay out in front of it. And we talked about last week, the ups and the downs. Right. Be prepared for some ups and downs because this might be the perfect condo. You love it. But the HOA is poorly managed. You wouldn't want to be in there anyway because it's just going to be headaches.
So don't buy a condo sight unseen, and make sure you get the condo writer that allows you time to get the resale cert with all these questions answered and time to review it and all the indentures and stuff. Now, can I buy a condo with 3% down?
Of course. You can buy a condo with no money
any
down.
Condo?
Well, again, no, not any condo, but it goes back to what we talked about. With the less money down, there's just going to be more scrutiny. With the more money down, a little less scrutiny.
All right, so the complex is going to matter. There's a lot of great well-run condo complexes in St. Louis.
Tons of them.
And
we
I
do
know
these loans
which
all
ones
day
are
long.
really well-run, have great reputations, people love living there, and others not so well-run.
And just because there's a problem doesn't mean it can't be overcome. We had a situation where a good friend of mine was buying one again down at the lake, and we got right before closing. Then we discovered there's a lawsuit that the old HOA was suing the new HOA, and there was this big lawsuit going on. But we did a lot of work, and it took a lot of effort. We finally found that the insurance company that was insuring the condominium had protection against that lawsuit, so we got it closed.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So, kind of like planning a wedding.
Going back to last week,
There's
right.
a lot of
Ups and downs.
about it,
Right.
but you know what? The fun is getting to the ceremony, right? Getting to that lifestyle if that's what you want. So be careful what you're buying. Check it out, that's for sure. But you can buy a condo with very little money down. You don't have to put a lot of money down. And condos can be very, very affordable. It's very hard to find a house for $150,000. I could still find you a condo for $150,000, $160,000.
And tell me this, they're still in demand too. So if I'm in a condominium, I'm not going to have any trouble selling them. And they also make great rentals.
No, condos have actually done better in this environment than I've ever seen in my 35-year history of selling. So condos are doing very, very well. If you have one and you need to sell it, none of the old rules apply. All new rules around selling them. It's a joy to sell them. Okay, well, thanks for joining us this week.
Hey, don't forget, if you like our podcast, like and share and recommend us. Yeah.
Follow us and share us.
And Angie, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, give your number.
314-277-7713.
And I'm at 314-249-6861.
All right. Website adillmon@kw.com. Talk to you soon.